Sports Talk. Let's go.
Let's make sure I hit that unmute button. But hey, once again, good morning, everybody. Hope you guys are doing. Welcome to another edition of Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, your boy, Rars, man. It's week 3. These weeks are rolling by, man. And as usual, we got lots to talk about. Today, we're going to jump right into it. We're going to be talking about power rankings. Who's got the power? Who's at top? In my top 10 power rankings going into this NFL week. We'll talk about that. Got to talk about the previews again. I'm doing that every week. You guys know what it is. And finally, we'll wrap up the show with the clutch picks of the week. And make sure if you haven't subscribed to the YouTube channel, man, make sure you do so now. And if you're watching on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook, man, what's up? We're going to keep this show rolling. But hey, without further ado, sit back and relax and enjoy the show. This is Clutch Sports Talk, NFL Sunday Wake Up with me, Ryan Flowers. Let's go. Good morning once again, everybody. Hope you guys are doing all right, man. I'm back again in the saddle. Week 3 of the National Football League is upon us, and it's a wonderful, glorious day to be streaming live with you guys, man. Today, we are streaming live on Twitter, or I don't know what you call it now, X, Facebook, and YouTube. Make sure you hit up those handles and get and hop in the comments, man. You know, this show is even more fun when you guys start getting in those comments. But I appreciate you guys watching. And if this is your first time ever watching, man, please, I appreciate you, and go ahead and subscribe to the channel. So, week 3, it's crazy, man. Like, and I do this every week, and I think I do this every year, and I say the same thing, but it's like, you don't realize how fast the season goes by. Like, literally, like, we're almost a quarter way through it next week. Well, almost a quarter, right? Week 4 will be next week, obviously, but just enjoy it, man. Just enjoy the ride, man. I love doing it. I love watching. I love the NFL, man. So, but make sure you guys do that. We already got some comments in here already. Good morning, Patrick. He says, Grand Rising, happy Sunday morning, watching my favorite NFL Sunday morning show. I appreciate you, my guy. Then we got Tyler Helton. He says, yo back, brother. Appreciate you. Yeah, but anyway, man, let's just get straight into it this morning. I want to unveil my first power rankings of the year. And let me get this comment out the way. Whoops. Let's see here. I'm tripping, guys. I'm tripping today. All right. So here are my week 3 power rankings. And I'll talk about each team as we go along here. Like, I'll keep it real with you. The first 3 teams on this list arguably could be one, right? They can flip flop, and I'll give you my reasonings, whether you like them or not. It doesn't matter to me. You can have your own opinion. But listen, we'll start with number 1 with the 49ers. The reason why I got them at number 1, to open the season, they go on the road, two hard games. When you look at it on paper, they traveled to Pittsburgh in week 1, a Pittsburgh team that we all thought were going to be much more prepared than they were. I mean, and then they basically just shellacked them. Okay. But still, nonetheless, a road game against a formidable team, I would say, or a team that we thought was going to be a little bit more formidable. Then you beat them up really good. And then you got to go on the road again to your home away from home, SoFi Stadium, where you've won 9 or 10 in a row against the Rams, which the divisional game. So I got to give them credit for that. And then they finally come home and they beat the Giants. So it's a slight edge over the Cowboys. Very slight. The Cowboys took care of the work of their job against the Giants Sunday Night Football week 1. And then, they destroyed the Jets last week too. So, but it is what it is. I still like the Niners at number 1, just slightly, like just maybe a baby here. Okay. Not by much. And so I feel like this can fluctuate. We'll see what the Cowboys do today. Well, they should have a, they should take care of it. We'll talk about that later on. Then the Cowboys, listen, defense, this honestly, man, I'm not, trust me, if you guys who watch me and follow me, I am not like a Cowboys fanboy. Like, I keep it real with my Cowboys, but for some reason this year, and I don't want to sound like every other Cowboys fan. This is our year, and I hardly say this, but there's a good chance. I'm not going to jinx them, but they have a really good chance. The way that defense is playing, Mike McCarthy is calling the offense. I mean, beautifully. Like he's making the right calls when he should, right? He's not trying to um what's the best word of saying it? He's not trying to get too cute like Kellen Moore would, right? Um, so he's just making basic football calls, right? The way I compare Kellen Moore and Mike McCarthy's play calling style is like I don't know if you've ever been to like a 5-star dining experience where they bring you out like, oh, what's on the menu today? Well, we have a slow braised lamb with lemon tartar like some crazy stuff. I mean, like, dude, just give me a hamburger. Like, it's still good, right? You know what I mean? And that's what Mike McCarthy. He's a hamburger. He's your local, mom and pop hamburger shop. And Kellen Moore is like this 5-star Michelin chef, but like, not saying like he's not good, but sometimes, man, it's just too much. And right now, the Cowboys are clicking on all cylinders. Now, the Trayvon Diggs injury is impactful. I'm not going to say it's not because it is. But Deron Bland, who played a lot last year as a rookie, really stepped up. So hopefully he can. I'm not going to say he can fill Trayvon Diggs' shoes, but I think he's still formidable enough. And Jordan Lewis will slide into that slot cornerback. So again, but the offense looks pretty good. Dak doesn't look stressed out back there. He doesn't look like he's pressing the way he once did before. So we'll have to wait and see. All right, Miami Dolphins. Miami Dolphins coming at number 3. Again, they could easily be 1 or 2. Their offense is clicking. I mean, offense is clicking. Offense is definitely clicking, and I like that. I like that. I like watching them play. I mean, Tyreek Hill is one of the most exciting players in the National Football League. My son, we're not Dolphins. Well, some of us in this house are Dolphins fans, but me particularly, I'm not a Dolphins fan. But my son, man, we love watching Tyreek Hill play. We like watching Tua and them play. It's literally like a track meet when you watch them play. And I used to run track, so I'm very fond of the sport. But I like the Dolphins again. Like they can easily be moving up and down this power rankings. But I got them in at number 3 right now. Baltimore Ravens. Listen, Ravens fans, you guys gave me a lot of shit over the offseason about some of the things I had to say. And so far, they look okay. I mean, they've played well. They played well. Lamar Jackson is doing what he needs to do. Zay Flowers is definitely the guy there. The OBJ experiment. I don't know if he's playing today. I know he hurt his ankle last week, but Zay Flowers is the guy that they're going to go through there. So it's exciting for them. They actually have like a true guy there now for over years. Like they never had like a real number 1 guy. Now I don't want to anoint Zay Flowers so quickly. However, though, it's obvious that that's where Lamar Jackson wants to go, besides Mark Andrews, okay, who happened to play last week too, if I'm not mistaken. So that helped them out as well. Now, they did lose J.K. Dobbins again for the year. Unfortunate for him, man. He's going to have to battle back from another injury that ends his season super early. All right, the Philadelphia Eagles, they coming at number 5. Listen, I don't like the Eagles. I can't like the Eagles, but I will say something that was profound that I found this week. Jalen Hurts, they were talking about him, about how maybe they're struggling a little bit or, whatever the case may be. They're not winning the way we expected them to win. And he's just like, well, you know, winning matters at the end of the day. I mean, I'm paraphrasing. So he's right. I mean, listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Um, they don't look like this juggernaut team that they did last year, right? Obviously, they walked on the field, they were blowing the doors off people. They've lost a lot, man. I'm telling you, on defense, both your coordinators, there's going to be some changes. Now, will they be strong enough to get back to the Super Bowl again? I don't know, because other teams in the NFC are looking pretty darn good. The Niners and Cowboys look like the class right now, obviously, right? We still got a long ways to go, but the Eagles are still a talented team, and trust me, I am saying that with tongue in cheek, but I want to be objective here, and I'm going to keep it real. They are a good team, okay? So they're good. They're still going to be in the power rankings because they're winning. They're still undefeated, right? Okay, I get it. So, all right, the Kansas City Chiefs at number 6. I read in the comments right now they always start. So yeah, and that's why they're at 6. Okay. Now the surprising thing about them is that their defense has actually been really good. They they're good. They're good. But I really feel like in the end, not having a number 1 or like a real legitimate wide receiver may come back to haunt them at some point. Well, Ryan, they won the Super Bowl. I mean, I get that, okay, but you could only do that so many times, okay, before it becomes a problem. And if Kelsey goes down again, or something happens, or somehow, some way, teams, slow him down, do they have enough firepower, and can you keep going back to the well with Patrick Mahomes over and over and over and again? I mean, I get, it's like you're playing Russian roulette. Okay. So yeah, they'll win a lot of games, and they're still a super talented team with Patrick Mahomes and Andy Reid. Their defense is playing really well. Chris Jones is back in the fold, so I can see them moving up for sure, for sure. Um, but right now, this is where they're at. Okay. Uh, until I can start seeing maybe a little bit more from the offense. They had a rough go at it the first two games. Okay. At home against Detroit, which again, and these are both, and that was a winnable game. Don't get me wrong, it was a winnable game, but they just couldn't get it done. So right now, they're kind of like in the Eagles thing, like they're winning. I'll give them credit, but it's the style points for me in regard to that. So that's why I have them at number 6. Okay. The Saints, the New Orleans Saints, coming at number 7. Derek Carr playing really well. I like what I've seen with them. They're very consistent, I would say. But they got a tough test later on today against the Atlanta Falcons, the divisional game, which I'll break that down. But the Saints are, they find ways to just hang around, man. I ain't gonna lie. I like what they're doing there. So they gotta make the top 10 list for sure. All right. Yeah, good point here. Big Simple, appreciate you. He says, I'm assuming he's in regards to the Chiefs. They're missing Eric Bieniemy. You know what, man? It's that could be obvious now. Maybe we weren't giving. Well, myself, I'll be a man and admit I didn't know how much of effect Eric Bieniemy would have had, and it seems like he might be, or it is a problem, because you've seen the Commanders kind of improving their offensive skills a little bit there. But anyway, all right, Buffalo Bills at number 8. Strong win against the Raiders at home. I mean, listen, any offense looks strong against the Raiders. I mean, they just obliterated them, which I kind of expected them to anyway, just because the loss that they had on Monday night against the Jets. They're coming home, they're ready to get back in. And so, but they're still, they haven't really fixed any of their problems. They don't really run the football well. Josh Allen is still their offense, and Stephon Diggs is just literally one game away from just having another blow up. But they got the win, so 1-1. They're still a talented team, but I think their window has closed, I would say, or if it hasn't closed, it's like there's a little bit of light there. I think there's some other teams in the AFC can possibly challenge them. And it's funny that going into this AFC, everyone's like, "Oh my God, they got the best teams," and I don't know, man. The NFC so far has proven to be a pretty good conference at this point. Some of the best teams, some teams that we thought that that weren't going to be maybe as good, or or maybe not take that next step. I mean, I don't know, man. Let me know what you guys think. All right, we got the Lions coming at number 9. They really pissed me off last week. Okay, and I bought what they were selling after the Chiefs game, and then they come home and then they lay that game to Seattle. And again, for those who watch my show, you guys know how I feel about Seattle. They're that green eggs and ham team, and what I mean by green eggs and ham is that listen, they will play you on a plane, they will play you on a train, they will play you at home. They'll play you anywhere. That team travels. And I figured that was going to be a tough game, but I just felt like the Lions were ready to make that next step over. And they didn't do it. They didn't do it. So they got they got the Falcons today. I said the Saints. The Saints played Green Bay. I'm tripping. But the Lions. I still think they're a good team. I don't know if they're ready for the big time yet. I don't think they're ready for because that was a game they should have won at the end of the day. You come off beating the Super Bowl champs. You're at home. You got to win. So we'll see. All right, Jacksonville Jaguars rounding out the top 10. They weren't impressive week 1. They kind of got out of Indianapolis just barely, right? And then they lose at home, to the defending champs. So I'll give them credit for that. They still have one of the best young young quarterbacks in the National Football League. Doug Peterson is a hell of a coach. But I know some of you gonna be like, oh, they lost a game. Losing to the Super Bowl champs and losing to Patrick Mahomes, it's it's a it's not a bad thing, right? Because they're still really good. But I kind of just eke them in there. I mean, literally, I could have probably put Seattle in there. Hell, Green Bay, even though they lost, Falcons are still undefeated. And Tampa Bay Buccaneers, which those are honorable mentions, as you guys can see there. But it is what it is. That's my week 3 power rankings. Like them, love them, or leave them. Let's go back to the comments here real quick because we had a bunch flowing in as I was talking about that. So let's talk about this real quick. So we start with Patrick Brown. He says Trayvon Diggs' injury was a huge loss. Oh yeah, talked about that for sure. Talk about the slow start. Cowboys is a good, talented team. Yep, absolutely. Big Simple says Washington Commanders. What I said. But you're a Washington fan, I'm assuming, so I think you got to ride with your team. But I'll give them credit. I'll talk about them in just a little bit. NFL with AJL, he says, boy, look at those Saints at 7. Yeah, man, that's your team right there. Patrick back in here, he says there's a balance with a run-pass ratio of Mike McCarthy versus Kellen Moore. Yep, absolutely. They're running the football a lot more. They're not running away from it if people stop it. Listen, here's the thing. When you play football or coach football, you cannot stay even if a team is stopping and run, and most people don't understand this. And even with me, I'm coaching high school, and sometimes people will be like, well, why you keep running the ball? Because you have to sometimes. You got to keep teams honest, whether you're getting 1-2 yards, whatever the case may be. You got to keep with it because it only makes you one-dimensional if you run away from it. And teams in the National Football League are good enough to shut you down if you're one-dimensional. So you got to have that balance. All right, Commanders will change your list week 3. We'll see. I thought about them, but you struggled against Arizona, and I will give you credit for the come from behind win in Denver. All right, Denver is not an easy place to play. Okay, but to me, that Washington game, man, that Arizona game is still lingering in my mind, like because the Cardinals are not good. They're not good, and you guys are at home, so that but like again, I'm open. I'm very open. My mind can be changed. I'm not gonna just be stuck in my ways. But we'll see. Sports PSP says, good morning, Ryan. Games to watch for me, Bills and Commanders. No surprise here because he's a Commanders fan. And Saints and Packers. I will say the Saints and Packers game is going to be a good one. I'm looking forward to that one. And then Tyler Helton says, I agree with you at Big Simple as a Kansas City fan. What's up? Oh, north of the border here, my guys from the Cowboys Can Fan Show. They said, finally, a power ranking that makes sense. NFL.com has KC at 2. And yeah, I don't see how they have those teams so high, just based off of the body of work that they've submitted so far. I get it. Like, though Kansas City and Philly, they got pieces, but you can't tell me right now they're respectively the one of the 2 or third best team in the National Football League. You can't tell me that right now. The Niners, Cowboys are probably the most 2 complete teams at this point, right? Based off defense and offense. Philly still missing a piece there on offense, but they can't get the passing game going. The Chiefs a little slow on the offensive side, so you can't tell me that they're 2 and 3, right? And I get it. We got fans for Kansas City here, and it's like no slight. It's only week 3. Like it's okay. Things can improve. All right. Anthony Estrada, he said, hey man, subscribe from one of your co-partners. I'm gonna tell you, I can't stand the Cowboys. Well, hey Anthony, I appreciate you for subscribing, man. And hey, at least you're honest, but I appreciate you subscribing anyway, man. But listen, hopefully I can change your mind about some Cowboys fans. Okay. I'm not a Cowboys fanboy. I'm not saying, oh, this is our year. I really hardly ever say that. So I like to keep it open and honest about my fandom with the Dallas Cowboys. What's up, Darian Hopkins? On one of the new members of the Grit Network. He's got a show, I believe it's debuting this upcoming Wednesday, Raiders Roundup. So if you're a Raider fan, you might want to check him out. He's on the Grid Network as well. Hit him up on Instagram at Raiders Roundup, if I'm not mistaken. So good morning to him, my guy. Barry Grant Jr., he says, Mr. Flowers, what's up, my guy? Appreciate you. Anthony Estrada, he says, yo, Spotlight, what's goody, man? All right, you guys, I love the comments, man. The only thing Washington was missing was quarterback, and the offensive coordinator, Scott Turner, was trash. Perhaps. We'll see. Cowboys fan, this is our year. You absolutely bugging. Stop being biased, Cowboys. No, come on, Anthony. All right, Anthony, let's be real. Okay, who would be number 2 right now? Let's be real. And we can have a conversation about it. I'm not bugging. I'm just speaking facts, and that's all I'm doing. All right. He said, "Oh yeah, let's go." Bunch of comments, man. Let's go Raiders. He says, "What's your prediction for playoffs?" I'm not really quite ready to do that yet. Because we still got a long ways to go. I mean, the NFL season is a long ways from being complete. So prediction for playoffs, I don't know. We still got injuries, things of that nature. But we'll see how it goes. All right. Moving on here. Let's get to our preview for week 3 here. Let's change this graphic here. All right, week 3. First game out the gates. I'm not going to give you guys my prediction on this one because this game is my clutch picks of the week. But I will say this is a very important game. Oh, of course, Anthony, you're an Eagles fan. And you talk about me bugging. Hey, I respect you, bro, but come on, man. And hey, listen, I don't know if you caught. I was keeping it real with the Eagles, man. Like I told you, I thought they're a good team. Okay, but they're not number 2 right now in the National Football League. Okay, all right. I'm just keeping it real. Okay, all right. But anyway. What's up, Dev? He's in the house. Yo. Anyway, first game out the gate, Chargers and Vikings. I'm not going to give you the pick for this one just because it's part of my clutch picks of the week. I'll get to that here later on. But I will say this is a must-win game for both of these teams. Now, let's just say I'm not surprised with where both of these teams are at. If you watch my show, you follow me, the Chargers, I always say this, the Chargers do Charger things. And first 2 weeks, they should have won those games. But they didn't. They find some way somehow to self-implode and lose these games. And it's sad because Justin Herbert will be just another Charger player whose talents just goes by the wayside because they can't figure out what they need to do. Minnesota Vikings, again, here's the thing with the Vikings. Like, they knew what they were getting into. You let Dalvin Cook go, whatever. You still don't have a quarterback. And Justin Jefferson is going to be wasted away there too, unless he wakes up and decides that, you know what, I got to get out of Minnesota because I'm not going to win in Minnesota. When have they ever won anything in Minnesota? Not since once they almost made the Super Bowl when they lost to the Falcons. What year was that? I forgot what year that was in the NFC Championship game. That was their best team that I've seen in my lifetime watching football. Not since and since then the Purple People Eaters, right? So sorry to my Vikings fans, but you guys, this is a must win for both of these teams. Like, and oddly enough, it'd be funny if these teams play to a draw today. That would be so ironic, and that would just basically just tell the story about both of these teams. But I won't tell you who I'm picking for that one until a little bit later on. All right, Bills at the Commanders. I think this will be a tough game because I'll be real. The Commanders, they get after it on defense. Now the Bills are favorite on the road. But sometimes people, when you go to FedEx Field, it's old, it's dilapidated. The bleachers are falling apart. It's a weird place to play sometimes, right? And the Bills, to me, even though they got the win against the Raiders, the Commanders look like they're going to be a lot more formidable, right, this year so far. I still don't believe in Josh Allen right now. And I feel like the Commanders will probably take this game today. It'll be a close one, I think, but I'll go with the Commanders this morning today, just because I feel like the Buffalo Bills, I think they've overachieved the last couple of years, and I think they're starting to come down, and I think their fall will be fast. So I'm going to take the Commanders today for that one. All right, Saints and the Packers. This one was interesting for me. I really like the Packers still winning the NFC division, or their division. They're the North. Now they should have won last week. They messed up my damn parlay ticket. I should have went 3-1 last week, in all honesty. But the Lions and the Packers just they doomed me. All right, but I like the Saints. The only reason why I'm going to go with the Packers is only because this game is at -1, if I'm not mistaken, or some places it's a pick 'em. I'm going to go with the Packers only because they're at home. If this game was in New Orleans, I would have went with the Saints. This is the Packers' first home game and, first home start for Jordan Love. I think Aaron Jones is still out, but I still like what they have on defense. Um, and and they're just at home. So it's not cold yet in Green Bay, but I will take the Packers this week. And it's no slight to the Saints. I just think that sometimes that home field advantage just give you a little bit of extra boost there. So I will take the Packers to win that game. All right. We got the Falcons, versus the Detroit Lions. Here's the thing. I want to take the Lions at home, but they really screwed me last week. So I'm going to be a little bit petty this week, and I'm going to take the Falcons to go on the road and defeat the Detroit Lions. And I think though that the Lions, they're talented. I just don't think they're quite ready yet. And it's not because I even like the Falcons that much, man. I'm just being spiteful just because I've even last year, man. I put excuse me, I can't even talk. I put the Lions on my clutch picks of the week at least 3 times last year. And you know how many times they won for me? 0 last time. So I did it again this year. I said, you know what? They beat the Chiefs. I'll give them another chance. Not doing it anymore. They have to make me a believer, and not just it can't just be one game. They have to have some substance. I'm going to take the Falcons to win, and watch. I take the Falcons, and then they'll win. So that's how it goes. But that's why it's called sports betting, man. You never know how it goes. So I'll take the Falcons over the Detroit Lions in a close one. All right, Titans in Cleveland. This is my clutch picks of the week. Talk about that later on. I think this is a very good matchup. You know, the Titans coming off a pretty good win last week, come from behind win, and the Browns did not look that great on the well, at least Deshaun Watson didn't look that great. And unfortunate for them, Nick Chubb, torn ACL. That was a horrific injury that he suffered during the Steelers game on Monday night. So, but I'll give you guys my picks on that one. Texans at Jags. I know a lot of people think Houston Texans can maybe in a position to maybe upset the Jags this week. I don't think so. They're I don't know, man. I just don't get it, man. It's and I like Houston. I think they got some pieces, but I just Jacksonville at home. Maybe if they were in Houston, maybe I might consider it. But I'm going to take the Jacksonville Jaguars to win this one in a divisional game. All right, we got the Patriots. And the Jets. I'm not going to pick this one. This is my another clutch pick of the week. Okay. But listen, this one is going to be closer than what people think. Like the Jets did not look good last week in Dallas. For sure. Okay. They did not look good for sure. And New England, man, they get after it on defense. Like for real. Like for whatever you want to say, I know their offense really isn't clicking on all cylinders in that regard. But I will say this though. They their defense is good. And Mac Jones, literally, man, I'm not saying he's like a world beater, but if they can find some type of system to get them to move the ball a little bit, they got a chance. They're not going to win the division. They don't have enough offensive firepower, but their defense is good enough to keep them in games. Literally, they're 0-2, and they fought their way back against the Eagles, right? Last week, who did I forgot who they lost to last week. And it was another game that they had to fight back. I forgot who they played last week, but it was a close game, right? It came down to literally like the last couple minutes of the game. They couldn't get a stop when they needed to, or whatever the case may be. And so be it. All right. But the Jets, Zach Wilson, I'll be real. Zach Wilson didn't play like super bad, but he's not good enough to beat good defenses. And you're playing another good defense today. And I just don't think they'll have enough. And remind you, last year, Patriots beat the Jets at home. But this time, or I take that back. Why did I even say that? I'm tripping. But Jets are at home. But realistically, man, it's I don't know. But again, this is my clutch pick of the week. You can tell where I'm favoring on this one. All right, I got the Broncos heading into Miami. Bro, I don't know, man. I got to think about this one for a second here. So, no, I don't. Miami at home opener for them. Denver's off another loss at home. Is Russell Wilson done? Is he cooked, man? Is it really on him, or I don't know, man. I don't know what I'm seeing with him anymore. I mean, I thought with Sean Payton, the offense would have been a little bit better, and it just really hasn't been, or has, I guess. I don't know, man. But is he cooked? It's sad because I like Russell Wilson, you know, but maybe he was just a benefactor of a system in Seattle, and then now you take him out of that system, and it's like, well, he ain't shit. He ain't shit now, unfortunately, and part of my French on a Sunday, but it's sad. But to me, this was a no brainer. I got the Dolphins winning this one easily at home, and Tua improves to 3-0. All right, we got the Baltimore Ravens at home against the Indianapolis Colts. Anthony Richardson, probably more like I think is out of this game. I think he's in concussion protocol. Ravens should win this game. Um, I don't think there's an issue on that one. Carolina and at Seattle, Bryce Young. I think the Bryce Young experience is over. He did not practice this week at all. If I'm not mistaken, I know they had a short week. I don't know what the injury extent is. I don't know if anyone you guys know in the comment section, but he's I think for the most part, I think all of us knew like he wasn't the guy. Small, and I don't know if it has anything to do with his small size, his diminutive size, but he just does not look like an NFL quarterback, unfortunately. And then now they got to travel to the Northwest to take on Seattle, who's coming off a really good road win against Detroit. Excuse me. Seattle should win that game. All right, Cowboys taking on the Cardinals in Arizona, in Scottsdale, or excuse me, in Glendale, Arizona. This honestly is a home game for the Cowboys. I went to Arizona Cardinals game versus the Cowboys game about a couple years ago. It was a Monday night game, and that stadium was basically a Cowboys stadium. You went to the concession, you went to the restroom, Cowboy fans everywhere. Hell, when we left the stadium that night, we drove down to the to a local Whataburger. Went inside, it was Cowboy fans, and we're literally in the heart of Phoenix, Arizona. And there were no Cardinal fans to be found. So this is essentially a home game for the Cowboys. They'll get this win. I think they have the highest spread point this week. I think they're at 13 points. So I think they should cover. No way. If they struggle with these guys, then I'll be on here next week talking shit for sure. But they shouldn't, hopefully. All right. Bears at the Chiefs. What a dumpster fire the Bears are. Justin Fields, probably not the dude. Well, not probably. He isn't the guy. He's blaming coaching. You know, the Chicago Bears won the Super Bowl in the offseason in regards to the moves that they made, but it doesn't matter. You got to get it done on the field, and they're just not. And Justin Fields, he's surrounded with some talent, and he's just not getting it done. So we'll have to see. But the Chiefs should win this game at home in front of the Chiefs Kingdom there, and we'll get it going. All right, Patrick Brown says Bryce Young is out with an ankle injury. I said the pre-draft his size was going to be an issue. Yeah, yeah. The Panthers really made a mistake drafting this kid, so not to say CJ Stroud or Anthony Richardson would be any better, but honestly, I would have probably taken those two guys over him. He doesn't do anything off the charts that's spectacular that you need to have in the National Football League. So, all right, almost done here. We got the last 3 games of the week. We got the Steelers at the Raiders. That's my clutch picks of the week, so I'll talk about that one a little bit later. Steelers coming off a pretty decent win on Monday night. Okay, and the Raiders coming off a really tough loss against the Bills. All right, but we're moving on. Eagles at Buccaneers. I think the Buccaneers will take their first loss today. Listen, the Buccaneers really ain't played nobody. They played Minnesota week 1, and then they played the Bears at home last week. So you have a team who was in the Super Bowl, who's looking to maybe prove that they're still top dog in the NFC, or hell, even the National Football League. I think they'll have a chip on their shoulder. I think the Eagles will win easily against Tampa Bay. Well, okay. And then finally to round up the Monday night games as well, because we have a doubleheader this week. LA Rams going on the road to the Bengals. Now, the Bengals are in rough shape, man. I'm really what's the spread on this one? Bengals are only 2.5 favorites at home. The Rams have been playing pretty inspired football. They got the win against Seattle week 1. They kind of battled with the Niners a little bit last week. And then who is this guy, Nakua? Is that his name, Nakua? The wide receiver. No, what's the guy's name? I forgot his name off the top of my head now. Their wide receiver who's hurt. Why am I forgetting these people's names? I guess when you push on 40, you start forgetting names. But anyway, this guy, where did he come from, man? This one's a tough one for me. You know what, man? I think I'll go with the Rams to win this game, because the Bengals have been struggling really on offense, and Joe Burrow got that he re-injured his calf injury again. So the Bengals maybe might be coming down a little bit, per se, but I'll take the Rams on this one, to win that Monday night game. But this guy Nakua, man, I don't know where the hell he come from. But if you were able to swipe this dude up in fantasy, probably after that first game he had against Seattle, people were like, "Oh, who the hell is this guy?" So we'll have to wait and see. All right. Clutch picks of the week. I went. I'm. Unfortunately, I'm at 500. I'm 4-4 this week. Last week I got screwed over by the Packers and the Lions, and even the Cowboys Jets game. Like it was 38.5, and the Cowboys literally beat that on their own, damn near. So shout out to the Jets for screwing me too for not playing good enough defense. I did not expect that game to be as high scoring. Well, at least from the Cowboys perspective, but it is what it is. All right, so let's get into it. So I got Tennessee to win against the Browns. I just the Tennessee Titans are just one of those teams that they may not be a top contender, but they're consistent, they're stable. So I like their chances going up against Deshaun Watson in Cleveland, who's without Nick Chubb. The Chargers, I wanted to pick them, so I did. I think they're going to go on the road. I think they'll have more offense to outlast the Minnesota Vikings, who just nothing about Minnesota Viking football outside of Justin Jefferson really excites me. So they're going to get that win over the Vikings. And I got the Raiders. I'm going to pick the Raiders again. I picked them week 1. They did not disappoint me. I'm hoping that they come home. It's Sunday night football. The crowd will be in a frenzy. Allegiant Stadium right down the street from me will be ready to go. Fortunately enough for them, the Steelers ain't really trying to score that much either. So hopefully the Raiders defense can somewhat do something. So I'm going to take the Raiders to win the home game against the Pittsburgh Steelers. So hopefully they can get that done for me. And then finally, I'm going to take the Patriots to beat the New York Jets, just because to me, the Jets have no juice on offense. And then after last week, now I think it's going to be a tough sledding for the Patriots offensively, just because I want to say that the Jets defense is still pretty formidable. But after last week, I don't know, man. The way the Cowboys went on like a 12-play drive, 80 plus yards, and just said, "Hey, take it." And that's what they did. So now this week, the Jets aren't playing the Cowboys offense. They are playing the New England Patriots offense. So we'll have to wait and see what that. But the Patriots are scrappy. We're scrappy. So we'll have to wait and see. So, man, hopefully, man, I can get above 500 again today. But it is what it is. So those are the picks of the week there. All right, let's read some final comments before we get up out of here, man. They were flowing in. They were flowing in, man. Let's see here. We'll start here with Anthony. He says, "I'm no Eagles fan. I'm a Raiders fan." You asked who am I? Oh, okay. All right. So you're a Raiders fan. See, Anthony, I didn't even know that, and I still picked the Raiders for you. See, that's how you know, man. I like to keep it real with you, bro. All right, but Eagles are not number 1 or 2 team in the National Football League right now. Come on, you can't go off of last year. We got to go. What have you done for me lately? Not saying that they're bad, but they're not number the 1 or 2 teams right now. And honestly, man, you got to be honest with yourself. Okay. All right. All right, we got Darian Hopkins. He says, Choker's probably talking about the Vikings or the Chargers. Patrick Brown says 98 was the best Vikings team. Yep, that's what I was talking about earlier. Oh yeah, Darian Hopkins show. He says we'll be live for that game. Which game is that one, Darian? If you're still in here, let me know which game that would be live for. Minnesota should trade for Kyler Murray. Nah, Kyler Murray is done. The Vikings just need to start tanking and maybe getting one of these top quarterbacks. Because really, Kyler Murray's injured now. He's expensive, and we know what type of work ethic he has. I would not go anywhere near Kyler Murray at this point. Appreciate it, Cowboy Can fans. Say make sure you guys drop a like and sub if you haven't already. I appreciate you. Peter, what's up, man? Video looks crispy, man. Hey, appreciate it, man. Just got a little bootleg Logitech webcam, but I appreciate you though. 2007 Cardinals. I don't know what that meant. Bryce Young. Yep, we read that. And then the Grid Network says they gave up a lot. Yep, to move. Yep, they sure did to get that. To get old boy. Myers will be back for the Raiders and Animals to go. Yep. So I think that's part of the reason why the Raiders might have the edge today. They'll have more offense. Okay. And if I had to pick between Kenny Pickett and Jimmy G, I think I'm going to go with Jimmy G at home for sure. The Browns did sign Kareem Hunt, but I guess I don't really care if he did it or not. So, all right. So it's all good. Okay. He's going to be doing the Packers and Saints game. So, all right. But it is what it is. Listen, man, like at the end of the day, whether my picks are right or wrong, man, bringing football to you guys, man. So had a great turnout this Sunday morning, man, in the chats, man. I appreciate you guys that came through and commented, man. It really helps the show flow, so I appreciate you. Even if you agree with me or not, hey, it's all healthy conversation and debate. It's never personal, man. So, but that's what I'm here for. So I'm here for you guys to be a soundboard. You can sound off on your team and on your opinions, and I'll tell you my opinions and my views as well. So that's what the show is all about. Again, I'm a Cowboys fan, but don't get it twisted. I'm not a fanboy either. All right, so that's all I got, man. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday, man. Stay tuned again next week, Sunday. I'll be back here live streaming on YouTube, Twitter, or X, whatever the hell you want to call it, and Facebook on the Grid Network, as well as Clutch Sports Talk podcast on YouTube as well. That's it, man. That's all I got. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your Sunday. Like I always say, this is Clutch Sports Talk NFL Sunday. Wake up with me, your host, your boy, Ryan Flowers. Never settle till the work is done. See you guys later.